What's up, YouTube? Erod212 here with another video. So it's that time again. Time for the back nine. What are we going to discuss? Recession-proof vintage comics. All right, so like the topic says, let's discuss comics that are not losing their value no matter what the recession is. We'll start with the vintage books, and you know what? Maybe part two will come along and we'll show you some other books. But for now, we're going to focus on what the group from CBSI's The Back Nine selected for this video. And there are some great picks in here. But you know what? Leave comments in their website. Leave comments here. Let me know what books you think are recession proof that we did not show here. Vintage ones for now. All right. And we'll discuss the modern stuff somewhere else down the line. But right now, vintage. But I want to give a shout out to my man Ben from CBSI. Always a gracious host. Go check out that website. There's a link in the description. Also, my man Phil from Vintage Comics and Toys for compiling all of this information. And, always coming up with these great topics. I don't know how he does it because he's always bringing up some really good stuff. Both of those guys are on Whatnot, so check them on there. Both reputable sellers there. Speaking about Whatnot, Attack on Tuesdays was a success again. So make sure if you're not subbed up to me on Whatnot, sub up. There's a link in the description that'll get you $10 off your first purchase on there. So it's a great way to start it off with a $10 coupon to buy something for free. I think it's a lot of fun. And also, this coming Saturday, King Kong #3 is in full effect. Go check out all of these guys. You got the Pressable Defects, Very Gary, New York Warriors, Streetside Anthony, Brownsville Comics, on top of all the other major vendors like Zap Comics and Kyle's Comics, Absolute. It's just so many people from the community. Ex-Illusionary is going to be there. Just so many great guys that are going to be there. It's a great time to just come hang out, talk a little bit about comics. You don't have to buy some. Just come hang out. That's all the community cares about. For the community, by the community, as my man the Butcher would say. You know what? But enough about that. Let's take a look at what the guys from the Back Nine have to say this week, and let's take a look at the books. So Phil says, comics have cooled off way more, and many investors are jumping to vintage to secure their money. This week, we are focusing on recession-proof vintage comics. I, for one thing, am not suggesting there's a recession right now, but the comic market has cooled off a lot, and there is a correction going on. The panel is recommending a number of books on where it may be safe to park your money. If you have any suggestions on any vintage recession-proof comics, please let us know in the comments below. And that's the thing. Everybody's talking about the recession. No, there was such an overinflation of the books that the books are coming back down to a respectable level. But there are certain books that will never go back to the prices that they were before. And those are the books we're talking about now. The books that continuously keep climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And talking about books like that, let's take a look at one of them right now. First one is the big baller of them all, Amazing Fantasy #15. You want recession proof? You want characters that will stand the test of time, and you can't do much better than Spidey. No matter what happens to the market, these will remain largely unaffected by normal swing. And that comes from Peter Renner. He couldn't be more right. Spider-Man, to me, now is the biggest Marvel book. I mean, it's been for a while. It was that in the FF, but it just completely surpasses FF #1. This book is just in another stratosphere. During the COVID and the gigantic upswing of 2021, this book went nuclear. Record sales all over the place. It's coming back down, but even now, those prices are well above what it used to be before. I think this book only keeps getting bigger and bigger as time goes along. Everybody wants this book, even in the 1.0. It's just that book that people want in their collections. And Jack Kornblatt goes with another one, another favorite of mine. This is Giant Size X-Men #1. First appearance of several beloved characters who have more than stood the test of time, and the beginning of an undisputed golden age of X-Men comics. So long as comic books exist, this book will be going up in value. First appearance of Storm. First appearance of Colossus. First appearance of Nightcrawler. Thunderbird. Was it third? Actually, fourth appearance of Wolverine. It is one of the best creations I've ever read. It took a floundering franchise, and Chris Claremont put it on his back and just carried that thing and made it into the juggernaut that the X-Men became. Everybody knows the X-Men now, but back then, not everybody knew these X-Men. Just think about that. Here's another one, man. I mean, Chris Nelms goes with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. TNMT #1 since the late 80s. The cartoons have created young fans as each generation reaches adulthood. They remember those shows and will always want a piece of history. I remember this was printed, super short printed. Guys basically took their budget and put it together and created this book in a garage, and they got a Mirage printing services to print this book out. It's a black and white, so condition sensitive. How many people really believe that this book was really going to be a hit when it first came out to become the juggernaut that it is today? It's one of, if not the biggest independents, in my opinion, probably the most famous independent. Ali goes with a timeless classic. He goes with Fantastic Four #5. I'll go Fantastic Four #5. First appearance of Doom. Doom is due to arrive to the MCU soon, and this book has become a blue chip that won't go down in value. Ali is right, but this book has been a blue chip forever. So, as we all know, most villains do not hold and stand the test of time when it comes to value on the book. Dr. Doom is the one character for Fantastic Four I think stands the test of time. Galactus is another that really stays up there. And for Spider-Man, although his villains, his rogues, maintain for the most part, the one that sticks out to me is the Green Goblin, because that is his ultimate nemesis, and that book just never goes down. It only keeps going up. Van Denby goes with another great book. He goes with Amazing Spider-Man #129. Prices are very reasonable, I think. VG copies seem to be safe at over $1K. Just think about that, $1K for a VG. I remember 5.5s of this book selling for about $500, maybe 4 to 5 years ago in the community. It just shows. And now with the Punisher getting a series, bringing him back into prominence, I think the Netflix series did a lot, and his portrayal did a lot for this character to bring it back to the forefront. If we can get some good story writing. But again, one of those Spider-Man classics that just has so many great characters in there. Topher goes with Albedo #2, another one of those independent classics. We have to do another indie. Usagi is finally getting FOMO and getting love across the board in grades. Good time to snatch one up. Something I was not into back in the day. Read a little bit of it, but not a lot. But this book has a cult following. There's no doubt about it. Again, one of those independents with low print runs that nowadays they just live up to the hype. There's a fan base for this book for sure. You can see it, and it's getting a series on Netflix. Stan Sakai did a great job with this, and they keep pushing it till this day. Terry Hawkins goes with a book that is on my bucket list. I hope to one day own this book, and this is Action Comics #242, one of the biggest villains in the comics. This book should be on everyone's PC bucket list, and there you go. First appearance of Brainiac. Besides Lex Luthor, one of Superman's greatest antagonists, and this book in any grade is super hard to find, man. Remember, it's a 10-cent comic book, and back then they used a lot of purples, yellows, reds, and this all-purple background. This book takes a beating. My man, Marky316, I remember he won one of these things. I'm still envious to this day. Now, Steve Horn goes with Heroes for Hire #1. He says, I like Heroes for Hire #1. Yes, it's taken a hit along with just about every other key and non-key in the past 90 days. Hard to believe that it sells for under $1K for a 9.0 and under. Luke Cage has emerged as an essential character in Marvel Comics over the past 20 years, and the Daredevil Reborn activity in the MCU points to further upside. And just think about this. I mean, you're not going to get Michael Coulter back only because he has his own TV series, so they'll be able to recast this character and make him the MCU way that they want to. Although Mike Coulter did a great job, I thought. All of those guys except for Finn Jones as Iron Fist did fantastic work. I would love to see this come back and see Colleen Wing and Misty Knight also come back somewhere along the line. I think that that would be a great addition. And now my man Phil closes out with House of Secrets number 92. This is DC Comics version of Hulk 181. Swamp Thing is very much beloved. I have not seen as many sold the past 2 years as the 2 years prior. Stubborn investors are waiting for the prices to go down, I think. I need to buy back in. Book I do not own. Again, Bernie writes in goodness. And if you guys don't know the story behind the cover, take a look at that information. Go look that up. You find out who the model was for the cover and everything else. This is a horror classic. It is just a classic. Let's put it that way. Great, great book to own. Another one of those tough, sensitive condition books. And then I'm going to go with this one. This is X-Men 101. It's the first appearance of the Phoenix. Probably the most beloved Marvel female superhero. The first appearance of Phoenix is a book that continues to grow in value and withstands all obstacles. Forever, this was one of my grails. When I was finally able to obtain this book, I couldn't have been happier. Phoenix, as a young guy reading, was my favorite female character in the MCU. Just everything about this, and the way that Claremont wrote this story, it was just great. But you know what? Let me just show you something, because I was looking at this. So this is GPA, and if you look from like 2013, this is an 8.0. You were at high sales of 178, and then it creeps to 200 to about 250 in 2016. Now in 2017, we go up to 325. Then 2018, 463. High sale in 2019 of 515, and then 500. Now 2021 is that big breakout year where everybody's over investing, and you had people coming from the stock market putting money into all blue chips and everything else. And now they're trying to get back out of it. But there was a high sale of 1,400. But look at the sale in 2022. That's $850 high sale. So if we went from 2020 at 500 and did it in half, you're talking about $675. So this book is gradually, but still continuously rising and rising and rising. I don't think that book will ever slow down and come down. It'll be $1,000 book in an 8.0 probably within 2 to 3 years. If you don't own one, that's a book that you really should get. But I also love that Green Goblin 14, that Amazing Spider-Man 14. Looking at the numbers on that, that's a real solid investment. A little pricier, but a really, really good book. But that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Take a look at these videos. There's some great content on these. And let me know what you guys think in the comment. Until my next video, peace.